Yes, there will be spoilers for Daredevil Episode 7 in this review, so if you have not watched it, please go watch it. It is a great episode, and come on back, because we got a lot to talk about.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, travelers, welcome back to Roberto's Room. So yes, we are talking about Daredevil Episode 7. It just released yesterday, but I've been a little bit under the weather, so I could not get to do a review until today, but I wanted to tell you my thoughts on this review. Like I said, there are spoilers, so if you're still here and you don't want to be spoiled, please, by all means, go, because I don't want you to get spoiled. You need to watch this for yourself, because there is a lot, like I said, that we need to discuss. Of course, we are now in major escalation mode. I really love this episode start. It honestly, at least to me, I don't know about you, there were a couple of things about this episode that reminded me of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, and just how they talked about Daredevil, and it kind of made me reminisce, especially some of the angles and camera shots were, at least to me, seemed evocative of the old style superhero film before the MCU, and I really liked it. The fact that we got, even if it was unintentional, these little nods to Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 from Sam Raimi. All in all, I felt the episode was good, but I have a couple of qualms, and this is actually why I wanted to make this a spoiler-filled review, because I wanted to talk about the treatment of Muse as a character. All throughout this season, we've been building him up. I know this season's had to do a lot of heavy lifting at the beginning, because you're having to reintroduce all of these characters that we know from the Netflix show. At the same time, you're building this new threat in Muse. So it had to do a lot in that first, 3-episode run, especially with the major events that we got in the first episode, with Foggy, of course, dying, and other things that happened. Of course, they're trying to build up. This is the new version of the show. Deborah Ann Wool's character, as well, Karen Page, is not in the show. So again, a lot of things have to shift. There's a new status quo with the new Disney Plus version of Daredevil, as opposed to the Netflix version of Daredevil. So again, a lot of heavy lifting at the beginning, but one of the things I was really looking forward to, because as you know, other seasons in the past in the Netflix show had seen Punisher, had seen other people come up. So Muse was really interesting in that, yes, he was a villain, but I wanted to see him developed, and this whole season has felt like the first 3 episodes of a Daredevil Netflix show, in that the Daredevil Netflix shows did a really good job of stretching out the narrative in a really satisfying way, so that you actually felt like you went on a journey. We are almost at the end of season 1, and I feel like we just got started. It's really, really odd, the pacing of the show, because as you know, if you've seen Daredevil Born Again Episode 7, that Muse does not make it out past this episode and is killed by Matt's girlfriend / the therapist, who Muse goes to see. And normal, he's not wearing the Muse outfit, and he kind of outs himself to the therapist as Muse, and of course this is kind of like his, not to borrow a MCU word, but endgame.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
This is Muse's endgame, it seems like, because he is fully intent on killing this therapist and draining her blood, as we've seen him do in prior episodes with other victims. But again, it feels weird. This episode felt weird to me, because this felt like an endgame, but we're 2 episodes away from the end, and of course I know it's probably they want to focus on Kingpin versus Daredevil. I get that. But you had a really interesting character that kind of, honestly, although not as bad, kind of got the Gore the God Butcher treatment.
Look how they massacred my boy.
In that we really didn't get to see a lot of him, and what we saw was tantalizing, but it was kind of like, okay, we want a lot more of that, and TV is supposed to give you the opportunity to get more of that from a character, and to have them be fleshed out a little bit more. I feel like we got really 2.5 episodes of Muse, not just, besides him being talked about by other people, and it's not enough.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
It really wasn't enough, and for him to just unceremoniously just die in this episode, I was like, oh, that was a missed opportunity. I feel, at least. Unless they have something up their sleeve that's really good for the last 2 episodes, which again, why, like, this season needed to be like 18 episodes like the old show. Like, honestly, it really didn't feel like this. I don't know, something about the show right now in this episode, and I know I've talked praises of the show because the show actually has been really good, but this episode kind of was like, oh, like, there was so much potential here and you squandered it. Again, I'm pretty sure it's because they want to do more Kingpin versus Daredevil. Another thing is we've gotten Punisher for one scene, and he wasn't really Punisher, he was just Frank Castle, which again, marvelous scene, fantastic scene. But again, are we ever going to see Frank Castle, really? I know he's getting a special presentation coming up soon, but I would have loved to see him more, especially as Punisher in this show. So it's been really odd. I'm kind of at a crossroads with this season at this point, just because of how they handled Muse. I really felt like he had a lot more to give as a character, so for him to just unceremoniously go out like this, I didn't like it. I did love the Fisk stuff in this episode. You can definitely tell that he, even though he is the mayor, he's trying to be buttoned up, he still has little old Kingpin lurking in there. And of course, now he knows that Daredevil is back on the prowl. He took out Muse when he was trying to drain the blood of the niece of Hector Ayala. And of course, he came back in this episode to fight Muse again, although this time the task force came in and took credit for Muse's killing, which of course Daredevil doesn't kill. He didn't kill Muse. They came in and kind of as the city saviors came in and took credit for the killing of Muse. And again, I understand where they're going with this. I actually like where they're going with this. I wish, honestly, that Spider-Man 4 was going to follow this up, because this whole anti-vigilante task force would have been really cool to see someone like Spider-Man, especially a Spider-Man that doesn't have any connections, deal with. But I guess that remains to be seen if that's the kind of story we're going to get. I don't know yet. I've seen a couple of things about Spider-Man that don't have me that excited for it, but again, we'll see. As far as this show is concerned, though, the last 2 episodes I really hope can deliver, because I really did not like the way this episode ended up. I really did not like the way that they handled Muse at all, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have up their sleeve. I hope that since you did get rid of Muse, that you do have a good way of ending this first season of Daredevil. Of course, we know Daredevil Season 2 is already filming for Disney+, which I'm excited about, but I feel like this could have had a little bit more of that Netflix aura, where it was drawn out and really calculated in the story it wanted to tell, because as of this moment, I'm a little bit lukewarm on where it's going, but like I said, let's see what happens. The show's been really strong other than that, so cautiously optimistic to see where this is going to go in the last 2 episodes. And again, I can't believe that it's the last 2 episodes. But please let me know what you thought about this episode. I would really love to hear your thoughts in the comments as well. Please drop a like down below. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We are, as you know, building the channel. Thank you so much for all of the people that have subscribed. We are at 57 subscribers, which I am super excited about. Thank y'all so much to those that have subscribed. And if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please join. We would love to have you on board. Thank you so much for joining me for this review, travelers. And as always, go with grace.